Well, this is the latest acquisition to my big money garage. It's almost like sort of a holy grail of 1955 Chevrolets. It's probably the rarest 1955 Chevrolet series that there is. That's arguable. Somebody can probably come up with something that's more rare. But anyway, what this is General Motors was approaching their 50 millionth automobile in 1955. They built a gold 1955 Chevy two-door hardtop, only one of them, and that was the 50 millionth General Motors vehicle made. They built that in October of '54, and finished it up at the end of beginning of November. Had a lot of gold-plated chrome and things like that on it, but there was only one two-door hardtop made, and it was on the parade circuit and all that stuff for GM's 50 millionth car. But they made these solid gold-colored 1955 Chevrolet Bel Air four-door sedan only. They were the only ones that were the commemorative 50 millionth car. They made 5,000 of them to be displayed at the bigger Chevrolet dealerships November 23rd, 1954 in their showroom to commemorate General Motors' 50 millionth car. The only 1955 Chevrolets that came with gold paint from the factory were these commemorative cars, and this car has all the codes and everything. It is one of these rare commemorative solid gold cars. At some point somebody two-toned it and quickly painted white paint on the rear part, but as you can see, there was never any paint dividers. They kind of made their own line. They started to paint some in the trunk, but didn't get very far. But these are the only 55 Chevrolets that you'll see with the gold trunk, gold paint everywhere on them. I remember reading about these cars, but never thought I'd actually own one. I bought this at the Car Connection auction on Friday. This is where I did my old Chevy graveyard video maybe 10 years ago, where the property is sold and the man's retiring and sold off all these cars. Now, people were bidding appropriately for the two-door hardtops and the sedans and things like that, but when it came time to this gold 1955 four-door, fortunately, only me and a few friends realized what this actually is. It's not just some gold painted Earl Scheib paint job 55 four-door. It is one of these rare anniversary gold cars. I had asked Cotton about this car, the guy that owned this property, several years ago about it, and he said it was just waiting its turn to be restored. He wouldn't even put a price on it. I met him here the other day. He walked up to me, and this is where a good story, this is where men are being good to each other. He come up to me because I heard you bought the anniversary commemorative car, and I said, yeah, I did. He goes, how much did you give for it? And I told him, I said, I don't want to tell you because I'm afraid you'll punch me in the stomach. He goes, no, it's once I turn this all over to the auctioneers, my hands are done with it. And he goes, how much did you give? I said, you sure you're not going to punch me? And he goes, I won't hit you. And I told him, I actually got this car for $250. I bought it for scrap iron. Anyway, he goes, oh my gosh, he just couldn't believe that it went that cheap. I told him, I said, hey, you know what? If you want to give me the $250 back, because I think the car's worth a lot more than that, I would sell it back to you. And he kind of looked at me and he grinned. He goes, no, I'm done with this stuff. I'm retiring. He goes, I'm glad you got it, and I'm glad you got it for a good deal. And he goes, I know you'll do good things with it. So that was pretty cool. I mean, I had to swallow hard to offer it back to him for what I gave for it. But that was an auction, and there was a lot of people looking at it. There were people bidding online, but I don't think anybody realized what it was except for a select few people. And another good story is my good friends. Instead of bidding against me, they knew I wanted this car, and they didn't say anything about it, and they didn't bid against me. We just let it be against the online bidders and the people here picking up these final four-door sedans as scrap iron. And the bidding, nobody else bid on it beyond what my $250 bid was. And man, when they said it was sold at my bid, felt like I went up in the air about 10 feet. I'm really happy to get this car. I can't wait to build it. It was originally a 6-cylinder Power Glide car. It's a very special car, and it will build with cheap parts, 4-door parts like 4-door seats. And being a 6-cylinder Power Glide car, people are just about giving those things away because they're wanting to do the LS swaps. But this car, if it's not built like it was, then that takes away what made the car special. It gets a pass for being a 4-door sedan because the only way you could buy an anniversary or the commemorative car was if being a 4-door. It also gets a pass for having a 6-cylinder in it. Because like I said, if you're going to turn it into a V8, you might as well paint it metallic blue and put flames on the front of it. Who would do something like that? Anyway. Unfortunately, just like Cotton, the guy that had it, it will be waiting its turn. But I'm really excited about this car, and I kind of hope to do something with it pretty soon. It's a fairly solid piece. You know, I wish it could have been stored in better places through the years, and I don't know how far back he got it. He may have got it and it was already in this state. That's probably why it wasn't redone earlier. This has been a neat experience. I mean, a lot of these people are buying these cars for just a few parts, and then they're like, you can have what's left of it, or, you know, you can chop off pieces cheap. And it's been a lot of good men working together out here. But look at this hard hit. I drove my GMC truck down. That's what I'm going to haul it with. I've had a lot of people offer also to trailer it back to my place, but I knew I had some work to do to it before I could get it out of here. And also I had things this morning I had to do, so I really couldn't line that up. And I really appreciate the people offering the use of their trailers and stuff like that. And I've got an old tow bar that I made in high school, and my property, my field cars is not too far away from here. So I'm gonna, in the spirit of keeping myself young, I'm actually gonna try to tow bar that car like I did when that was the only the thing I had. Like I said, I got a lot of good friends that are saying, hey, we can use my trailer, and if it doesn't tow bar right, I may be calling them up and saying, hey, let's get the trailer and move it. But I had to put wheels on it. I had to replace lug nut studs. Unfortunately, some caught it back there and bent it pretty bad, but I believe that most of that can be taken out fairly easily. This good old thick metal you can work with. But this is a very interesting occurrence, and it was really fun to go to the auction, and it was really a hoot for me and the few people that recognized what this car was to kind of keep quiet about it and just see if anybody online knew what it was. And just like all these other 4-doors around here and stuff, when the bidding got going on it and stopped real quick, oh man, what a sigh of relief. So, well, it's time to hook up my bar up, get that the hood. I bought that off of a guy named Justin. Put that in the bed of my truck and tie everything down and see if I can actually tow bar this thing. Thanks for watching. There's Mr. Good Pliers walking around. Say hi, Good Pliers. Wasn't that something?
It was something. Yeah, if you didn't come home with the car after this sale, there's something wrong with you.
Oh, I know there was something out here for everybody.
Didn't get one bought, you're not doing it right.
Even the Ford guys and the Chrysler guys got it.
Here for all of them.
Yeah, and towards the end, things sold cheap. You know, at the beginning of the auction, things were selling really high, like the way they do, and I was like, oh my gosh. But when it came down to these old hulls, they went pretty cheap. Anyway, thanks for watching. Stay tuned. We'll see you later.